Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back to Nightmare Fuel, the segment where I read, analyze, and review creepypasta, play creepy games, and seek out creepy gaming Easter eggs. Today we're talking about a very popular creepypasta called Sonic.exe. I'm a total Sonic the Hedgehog fan, much like everyone else. That's quite an assertion. I like the newer games, but I don't mind playing the classics. I don't think I've ever played a glitchy or hacked game before, though I don't think I want to play any after the experience I had. It started on a nice summer afternoon. I was playing Sonic Unleashed. I liked how you get to explore the towns in it, until I noticed, out of my peripheral vision, that the mailman had arrived and put something in my mailbox, as usual, and left. As that is his job. I paused my game to go see what I got in the mail. The only thing in the mailbox was a CD case for computers and a note. I took it inside. I looked at the note first and realized it was from my dear friend Kyle, let's just call him that, whom I hadn't heard from in 2 weeks. I know that because I recognized his handwriting, though what was weird is how it looked. It looked badly written and scratchy and somewhat difficult to read, as if Kyle was having a hard time writing it down and did it in a hurry. This is what he wrote. Tom, which is apparently our author's name. Tom, I can't take it anymore. I had to get rid of this thing somehow before it was too late, and I was hoping you'd do it for me. I can't do it, he's after me, and if you don't destroy this CD, he'll come after you too. He's too fast for me. Please, Tom, destroy this godforsaken disc before he comes after you too. It's too late for me. Destroy the disc, and you'll destroy him. But do it quick, otherwise he'll catch you. Don't even play the game. It's just what he wants. Just destroy it, please, Kyle. Well, that's pretty straightforward. Don't play the game? Alright. Well, that was certainly weird. Even though Kyle is my best friend, and I haven't seen him in 2 weeks, I didn't do what he asked me. Of course not, why would you? I didn't think that a simple gaming disc would do anything bad to him. After all, it's just a game, right? Boy, was I wrong about that. So anything that happens to our main character from here on out is his own fault. He deserves whatever comes next after this. Anyway, it's actually written with any capital. Anyway, wow. I looked at the disc, and it looks like an ordinary computer CDR disc, except it had a black marker written on it, Sonic.exe. It was much unlike Kyle's handwriting, meaning that he must have gotten it from somewhere else, like a pawn shop, or eBay, or some other cliche place where you get video games that are haunted or otherwise cursed. When I saw Sonic on the writing of the CD, I was actually excited and wanted to play it, since I am a big Sonic fan. I went up to my room and turned on my computer and put the disc in and installed the game. When the title screen popped up, I noticed that it was the first Sonic game. I was like, awesome, because, like I said earlier, I liked the classics. The first thing I noticed that was out of place was that when I pressed start, there was a split second when I saw the title image turned into something much different, something that I now consider horrifying before cutting to black. Keep in mind, a split second. Alright, let's do this. I remember what the image looked like in that split second before the game cut to black. The split second. The sky had darkened, the title emblem was rusted and ruined, the Sega 1999 was now instead Sega 666, and the water had turned red, like blood, except it looked hyper-realistic. But the freakiest thing was, in that split second frame was Sonic. His eyes were pitch black and bleeding with two glowing red dots staring right at me, and his smile had stretched wider up to the edge of his face. I was rather disturbed about that image when I saw it, though I figured it was just a glitch and forgot about it. Well, apparently you didn't forget about it, as you seem to remember it really quite well, actually. It's a lot of info to get from a split second. Anyway, after it cut to black, it stayed like that for about 10 seconds or so. And then another weird thing happened. The save file select from Sonic the Hedgehog 3 popped up, and I was like, WTF? What's this doing in the first Sonic game? Anyway, then I noticed something off. Well, thank God, I thought it was just me there for a second. Jesus. The background was the dark cloudy sky of the Bad Starburst Speedway level from Sonic CD, and there were only 3 save files. The music was that creepy Caverns of Winter music from Earthbound, only it was extended and seemed to have been in reverse. And the image for the save file, where you see a preview of the level you're on, is just red static for all 3 files. What freaked me out even more was the character select. It showed only Tails, Knuckles, and to my surprise, Dr. Robotnik. Now I was sure that something was up. I mean, how can you play as Dr. Robotnik in a classic Sonic game, for crying out loud? 'Cause that's what caught my attention. 'Cause I'm an idiot. That's when I realized this wasn't a glitchy game, it was a hacked game. Yeah, it definitely looked hacked. It was really creepy, but as a smart gamer, that's disputable. I wasn't scared, or at least I tried not to be. I told myself that it was just a hacked game, and there's nothing wrong with that. Anyways, shaking off that creeped out feeling, I picked file 1 and chose Tails. And when I selected and got started, the game froze for about 5 seconds, and I heard that creepy pixelated laugh that sounded an awful lot like that Kefka guy from Final Fantasy before cutting to black. The screen stayed black for about 10 seconds or more. Then, it showed the typical level title thing, except the simplistic shapes were different shades of red, and the text showed only Hill Act 1. The screen faded in, and the level title vanished, revealing Tails in the Green Hill Zone from Sonic 1. The music was different though. It sounded like a peaceful melody in reverse. Anyway, I started playing and I had Tails start running like you would in any of the classic Sonic games. What was odd was that as Tails was running along the level, there was nothing but flat ground and a few trees for 5 minutes. That was when the peaceful music started to lower down into slow, deep tones, very slowly, as I kept going. I suddenly saw something and stopped to see what it was. It was one of the small animals laying dead on the ground, bleeding. That was when the music started to slow down. Tails had a shocked and saddened look on his face that I never saw him have before. So, I had him move along. And he kept that worried look on his face. As he kept moving, I saw more dead animals as Tails moved past them, looking more and more worried as the music lowers and he moves past more dead animals. I was shocked to see how they all died. They looked like, oh my god, so many commas. Seriously, it's nothing but commas, it's just bugging me, sorry. Anyway, they looked like someone killed them in rather gruesome ways. Comma. A squirrel was hanged on the tree with what appeared to be his entrails hanging out. A bunny had all 4 of his limbs torn off, and a duck had his eyes gouged out and his throat slit. Jeez. I felt sick to my stomach when I saw this massacre, and apparently so did Tails. After a few more seconds, there were no more animals, and the music seemed to have stopped. I still kept Tails to continue. Whatever. After a minute passed, after the music stopped, okay, Tails was running up a hill, and then he stopped. It wasn't until I saw why. Wait, what? After a minute passed, after the music stopped, Tails was running uphill and then he stopped. It wasn't until I saw why Whatever. Sonic was there on the other side of the screen, with his back against Tails, with his eyes closed. Tails looked happy to see Sonic, but then his smile faltered, obviously noticing that Sonic wasn't responding to him. If not acting as if he was totally oblivious to Tails' if not acting as if he was totally oblivious to Tails' presence. I'm really trying to do this word for you guys, but Jesus. Tails walked slowly toward Sonic, and I noticed that I wasn't even moving my keyboard to make him move, so this had to have been a cutscene. Suddenly, I began to have a growing feeling of dread as Tails walked closer to Sonic to get his attention. I felt that Tails was in danger and something bad was going to happen. I heard faint static growing louder as Tails was but inches away from Sonic and stopped and stuck his hand out to touch him. That foreboding feeling in my gut was growing stronger, and I felt the urge to tell Tails to get away from Sonic as the static grew louder. Suddenly, in a split second, I saw Sonic's eyes open, and they were black with those little glowing dots, just like the title image, though there wasn't a smile. When that happened, the screen turned black and the static sound was off. I stayed black for about 7 seconds, and then a white text appeared, forming the message saying, "Hello, do you want to play with me?" At this point, I was creeped out. I didn't want to continue with the game, but my curiosity got the better of me when I was taken to a different level with the level title now saying, "Hide and Seek." This time, I was in the Angel Island level from Sonic 3, and it looked like everything was on fire. Tails looked as though he was scared out of his wits this time. He actually looked at me and made frantic gestures to me as if he wanted to get out of the area he was in as fast as possible. I was starting to get freaked out by this. I mean, Tails actually breaking the fourth wall, trying to tell me to get him out of there. I pressed down the arrow key as hard as I could and made him run as fast as he could. A pixelated version of that creepy theme when you meet Shadow at the Ark as Robotnik from Sonic Adventures 2, it just says SA2, was playing as I made Tails trek through the desolate forest, trying to help him escape from whatever he was trying to run from. There was a forest? Whatever. Suddenly I heard that creepy laugh again. That awful Kefka laugh. Right after 10 seconds had passed, as I helped Tails run through the forest, and then I started seeing flashes of Sonic popping up everywhere on the screen. Again, with those black and red eyes. The music changed to that suspenseful, drowning jingle as I see Sonic behind Tails slowly gaining on him, flying. Sonic wasn't running, he was actually flying. The flying pose his sprite was making looked very similar to Metal Sonic flying pose in Sonic CD. Except it was just Sonic, and he had the black and red eyes again. Only, this time, he had the most deranged looking grin on his face. He looked as though he was enjoying the torment he was giving the poor little fox as he gained up on him. Suddenly, when Tails tripped, another cutscene, the music stopped and Sonic vanished. Tails laid there and started crying for 15 seconds. The scene was rather upsetting to watch, and I kind of teared up myself. But then Sonic appeared right in front of Tails, and Tails looked up in horror. Blood started to come down from those blackened eyes of Sonic's as a grin slowly grew on his face as he looked down at the horrified fox. I could do nothing but watch. Just in a split second, Sonic lunged at Tails right before the screen went black. There was a loud screeching sound that only lasted 5 seconds. The text returned. This time it said, "You're too slow, want to try again." And then that god-awful laugh came with it. I was so shocked by what had happened. Did Sonic murder Tails? No, he couldn't have. He and Tails were supposed to be best friends, right? So why did Sonic do that to him? I shook the shock off as I was brought back to the character select. The save file that had Tails was different. Tails was no longer in the box itself, but in the TV screen itself, which was flickering with that red static. Tails' expression scared me. His eyes were black and bleeding, his orange fur had gone black, and He had an expression of anguish on his face. Trying to ignore it, I picked Knuckles next. The laugh came again, the screen cut to black again, and stayed there for another 10 seconds. This time the level said, "You can't run." I was really freaked out by now, and couldn't really tell if this was a glitch or a hack or some kind of sick twisted joke or anything really. But despite my fear of what happened next, I kept playing. The next level looked much different. It had the ground of the Scrap Brain Zone, but the sky background looked like the main menu. It had the dark, reddish, cloudy sky, but it was the music that creeped me out the most. It sounded like Gygus theme right after you beat Pokey in Earthbound. I also noticed that Knuckles looked afraid, just like Tails did, though not as much. More rather, he looked a little unnerved. So not really scared, just sort of uncomfortable with the situation. Whatever. He broke the fourth wall just like Tails, and looked as if he wasn't sure about going on. But I made him move anyway. He ran down the straight pathway in the dark level, and as he did, the screen started flickering red static a couple of times, and then that maddening laugh came again. Then after a few seconds of running, I noticed several blood stains on the metallic ground. I felt a growing sense of fear, again, thinking something terrible was going to happen to Knuckles. He looked nauseated walking down the blood-stained road, but I still kept him going. Suddenly, as Knuckles ran, Sonic appeared right in front of him with those black and red eyes, and then red static appeared again. Then the static vanished, showing nothing but a black screen with text saying, "Found you." I was now scared. Sonic found Knuckles already? What was going on? Anyway, red static came again, and then I was back to the level. Knuckles looked like he was panicking, and Sonic was nowhere to be found. And this time that really high-pitched squealing from Silent Hill 1's final boss was playing. What? Okay. Was this some kind of boss battle with Sonic? I hoped to God it wasn't, honestly. Suddenly, Sonic appeared right behind Knuckles in what appeared to be a pixelated black smoke. I made Knuckles turn around, then punch Sonic, but Sonic vanished in black pixelated smoke before I could even land a hit. That horrible laugh went off again. Then Sonic appeared behind Knuckles again, and then I made him punch again, and Sonic vanished again. Laughing, Knuckles was panicking even more, and even I felt like I was going crazy. Sonic was practically playing with us. He was playing a sick, twisted little mind game with me and Knuckles. Another cutscene played as Knuckles fell to his knees and clutched his head, sobbing. I felt his agony. Sonic was actually driving us both crazy. And in a split second, Sonic lunged at Knuckles, and the screen went black with another distorted, screeching noise that lasted for at least 3 seconds. Another text message appeared. So many souls to play with, so little time. Would you agree? What the hell? Just what is going on? I started to think Sonic was actually trying to talk to me through the game, but I was too scared to think that. What? Okay, guys, I'm gonna keep going, just for you guys. This is horrible, but I'm gonna keep going. For you. And if you don't want to hear, like, the rest of the story, just skip to the time. Just skip to the time on the little annotation, bottom of the screen. Because I know some of you want to kill yourselves right now, because the story's so bad. So yeah, you can just skip it and hear my analysis. That time, right there. Seriously, you can leave. It's fine. Okay, we'll keep going. I was brought back to the main menu. This time, the second file box had Knuckles in the TV screen. His red fur had darkened to a reddish gray. Alright. His dreadlocks were dripping with blood, and his eyes were black and bleeding too, and he had a look of sadness on his face. I began to think that those are the actual characters trapped in the TV screens on the save files, but I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. So I shut off the game and took a break, and I took a nap. 'Cause sure, why not? Well, 2 of our 3 main characters are dead. May as well take a nap. Just gonna rest. Wish I hadn't, 'cause I then began to have the most disturbing nightmare. I was in pitch black darkness, though I was under the light given off by a lamp that hung high above my head. I could hear the cries of Knuckles and Tails nearby. They were saying stuff like, "Help us," and why did you give us to him?" and "Run away before he gets you too." Their cries died out as I then heard Sonic laugh. His laugh. It sounded a lot like a distorted Kefka laugh. This dude really has a thing for Kefka. "You're a lot of fun to play with, kid. Just like your friend Kyle." Though he didn't last long. I was scared and looking around for the source of the voice. "Won't be long now until you join him and all my other friends." Hey Sega, hire me for voice acting. I'm awesome at this. I saw him walking toward me, flickering in and out in several directions. "You can't run, kid. You're in my world now, just like the others." When he grabbed me and I saw his bleeding black and red eyed, grinning face, I woke up with a fright. Of course you did. After a couple of hours, I decided to continue playing the game. I don't know why, but I had to know. I had to figure out why this was happening. So I turned on the computer and turned on the game and selected Robotnik next. I still thought it was wacky playing as Robotnik, but anyway, the level title... yeah, Robotnik is what's wrong with this game, absolutely. He's up to his old tricks again. But anyway, the level title appeared again, and this time it read ellipses, or ... which I found really freaky. This time I was in some kind of hallway. Didn't really look like it was from any of the classic Sonic games, though it has the pixelated style. The floor was shiny and checkered, the walls were dark grayish purple, with animated candle lights and a few dark bloodstains here and there. And there was a dark red curtain hanging above the top part of the screen every 12 seconds or so. That red curtain sways very slowly, but whenever you're playing the game you can barely see it move. The music was oddly pleasant. A piano playing a rather sad yet peaceful song, but I knew better. This was the song that played in Hill Act 1, only it was reversed. Because I'm sure that sounds very peaceful. Robotnik didn't look entirely nervous like Tails and Knuckles did, but he did have a suspicious look on his face, as if he was just a bit paranoid. He did a little animation when I just left him standing. He turns his head to the left and then to the right, at least twice, and then shrugs at me, as if he has no idea where he was or what was going on. Even though I was scared out of my mind about what was going to happen, I had Robotnik continue onward. He did his usual running animation, you know, when you've beaten him at the end of the classic Sonic games and you chase him, as we continued going through the hallway. When I stop at the long flight of stairs heading downward, now I was nervous. Even Robotnik seemed unsure of himself, though I pressed onward. As I led Robotnik down the stairs, I noticed that the walls had gotten darker and more reddish. The red torches were now an eerie blue, and we landed onto another hallway. This one was longer than the last one. Or at least it felt like it. And then we headed down another flight of stairs down. This one was much longer. This took at least 1 full minute. And then I heard that horrid Kefka laugh again. And then the music slowly faded until it was quiet. As it did, the walls turned more dark red and the torches were a black flame now. When Robotnik landed on the third hallway, I noticed he now looked really creeped out. Though he tried to hide it, I couldn't blame him, I was scared too. Suddenly, Sonic popped right in front of Robotnik, the same way he did with Knuckles, and then red static. The red static lasted for about 15 seconds, and then it showed me a most unpleasant image. The image showed a hyper-realistic Sonic standing in the darkness where you can only see his face, while his head and torso faded into black. And when I say hyper-realistic, I mean he looked so real you could actually see the lines in his blue fur, as if you could actually feel the fur if you touched the screen. His face. Oh, God, he had the most horrifying smile I'd ever seen. Whatever, dude. And that's saying something, considering I saw that image at the start of the game. His eyes were wide and black, and once again crying blood, which also looked hyper-realistic, and there were two small glowing red dots in those black eyes staring right at me, as if staring into my mind. His grin was wide and demonic. It literally stretched to the sides of his face like a Cheshire cat, except Sonic had fangs, very sharp fangs, much like the werehog's teeth, except more vicious looking, somewhat yellowish. From the look of it, he had stains of blood and small bits of flesh on his lips, and the fangs as if he ate some animal. I stared at the gruesome image for a good 30 seconds, never taking my eyes off of it. I felt as if he was actually looking at me, smiling at me, that face. It just took 10 seconds for it to etch itself into my brain for good. Then the screen flickered with red static again 3 times, and on the 3rd time I heard a Kefka laugh. Except this time it sounded distorted, demonic even. It went back to the image again, except this time there was a text again, though it was messed up. But it was pretty much one of the most horrifying things I looked at since I had this game. I am God. It was when I read that message while looking at Sonic that it hit me. I realized right then and there, this Sonic was a monster, a pure evil, sadistic, all-powerful, nightmarish, demented monster. And all of his victims, including Tails, Knuckles, Robotnik, and possibly Kyle, are just his little toys. And the game is the very gateway into his chaotic, nightmarish world and the very hell his victims are trapped in. Suddenly, in an actual split second, I screamed as Sonic lunged at the screen, screeching loudly, with his mouth wide open, to an unnatural length, revealing nothing but a literally spiraling abyss of pure darkness before the red static came again. This time, much louder and distorted, so loud that it hurt my ears. I yelled and grabbed my ears as the red static screeched for a good 7 seconds. Then it stopped and showed nothing but black screen. As I sat there staring at the black screen, one last text came up. Ready for round 2, Tom? The Kefka laugh, now sounding more clear as if Sonic was right behind me. Played again 3 times as I looked at the text, shocked and confused. Oh my god. Then I got booted back to the main menu, and this time the 3rd save file had a TV image of Robotnik in the same tormented state as Tails and Knuckles. Robotnik's skin turned a dull gray, his mustache drooped and had blackened, his glasses broke, and blood is coming from them, and he had mere dead-like expression on his face. I looked at Tails, Knuckles, and Robotnik, and I cried a bit. I pitied them for the agony they're going through. They were forever trapped within the game, forever tormented by that horrid hedgehog, and always will be. Then the computer shut itself off, and I couldn't turn it back on no matter what I did. I sat there for maybe 25 seconds, horrified by what had just happened. Sonic is the very embodiment of evil. He tortures people who play his game in more ways than one, and then when he gets bored, he drags you into the game, literally drags you to hell, where he can play with you always as his toy. I can't get the game out of my computer. I think it's stuck, but at least I managed to turn it back on now. After I sat there for 25 seconds, I heard a voice right behind me, like a whisper. Try to keep this interesting for me, Tom. I turned around to see where the voice had come from, What I saw now made me scream. Sitting on my bed, staring right at me, was a Sonic plushie, smiling with bloodstains under its eyes. Well, that was not good. Wow. First, let's talk about the writing style, because Jesus. The pacing was actually okay. The idea for the game was good-ish. I'd play it. I am actually playing it on the screen. And the story seemed believable until the last few paragraphs where everything went a little too plushy for my taste. Wow. The concept is solid, provided the writer had left out the plushie and had actually known how to write a story. That would have been helpful. This author also really seemed to enjoy giving details about really bland and useless information, like the mailman at the beginning, who was just kind of doing his job. That wasn't really necessary. Yeah, stuff like that, just kind of useless. This author also seemed to enjoy mixing all kinds of other video games together into this horrible gumbo of terrible creepypasta. Seriously, this story is lousy with all sorts of Earthbound music and Kefka laughs and Silent Hill for whatever reason. What these games have to do with Sonic in any way, shape, or form, I'm never going to be able to figure out. Now on to the legend. This story has been so ridiculously popular, it has spawned rewrites, sequels, and even the fan game that you've been watching throughout this video. Why it got so popular, the world may never know. In my opinion, this is the story that made hyper-realism and haunted plushies and so forth such a commonly used feature in many creepypastas. This is the grandfather of the haunted plushie, if you will, making Tails doll really the grandmother. And I will go over Tails doll later, because I don't know if I have the willpower to read something like this again anytime soon. But we'll see. We'll see. So now we must ask, is it real? Could it be real? By any stretch of the imagination, could this have ever happened? No. In no way, shape, or form did this take place. Beyond this being fake because it's a Sonic doll come to life, we would have heard about this on the news if it could have been killed by a Sonic plushie. I mean, my god, Fox News would have had a field day. I can hear it now. When will parents wake up and realize anthropomorphic hedgehogs have been killing and demoralizing their children for years? And stuff like, video game characters have been plotting the extinction of the human race since Pac-Man. I remember seeing his shifty eyes and thinking, no sir, you won't get in my head. Then again, I'm of the mind that most of the on-air personalities of Fox News were all victims of the Polybius Cabinet. That was foreshadowing, because I'm planning on doing an episode about Polybius soon. I thought it was clever. Yep. But yeah, this story was a whole new level of bad. This was just bad. I don't know why I put myself through this, but I did. And I feel very unclean. So, I'm gonna go take a shower and wash this story off of me. Yeah. Anyway, that's what I got for you guys today. Be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Check out my channel for more gaming videos. Follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/becominglucid, and stop by my other channel, LDTV. Link is in the description box below. Go over there, comment, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Thanks for watching, keep gaming, and stay lucid.